Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. You can pick up all the Magic cards you need over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and today I'm going to show you how you can get started playing on Magic Online in 2022. So today we're going to go over literally everything you could possibly need to know about how to get started playing on Magic Online, from downloading the client to making an account to what all the various tabs do, how you can get decks, import decks, buy decks, rent decks, play in events, win prizes, sell prizes, some tips and tricks for gameplay. So anything you could possibly want to know, I'm going to try to cover in this video. And if I miss something, let me know in the comments and I'll try to fill you in there. But before we talk about how you can get started playing on Magic Online, I want to give you a few reasons why you should consider playing on Magic Online, even in an era when Magic Arena exists. So I got 6 reasons for you, and I'm sure there's more than these, but my 6 big reasons why you should consider playing Magic Online, and we're going to go through them really quickly. So number 1, on Magic Online, you get to play all the formats and with almost all the cards. On Magic Arena, you get Standard, you get Historic, Brawl, regular Brawl, but on Magic Online, you get it all. You get Standard, you get Pioneer, you get Modern, you get Legacy, you get Vintage, you get any format you could imagine. A bunch of Magic Online specific formats like Pauper came from Magic Online, Penny Dreadful, so there are just so many play options, and you get almost every single card in Magic's history. Like, we have 30 years almost of cards, and like 99% of them are on Magic Online. There's a few really old weird cards that haven't made it on the client yet, like random commons from Ice Age and whatnot, but really a huge percentage of all the cards in Magic's history are available on Magic Online. Number 2, it's a real representation of paper Magic. One of the criticisms of Arena lately from some people is Wizards has started doing nerfs and buffs and adding digital only cards. Suddenly your historic deck that you love gets some cards nerfed and it's not good anymore. So that's something that some people dislike about Magic Arena. The idea of Magic Online is to exactly replicate paper Magic. It might not be as flashy, you might not get the animations and so forth, but if you want to play paper Magic on your computer at any time, Magic Online is the way to do that. Number 3, it has multiplayer, so you can actually play Commander. So I mentioned you can play all the formats. Well, that includes 4-player Commander games. Commander is actually really popular on Magic Online. It's growing in popularity. You can jump on Magic Online at 2 in the morning and get in a 4-player Commander game in a matter of seconds. Like, there's just always Commander games firing. So if you're someone who loves the Commander format and wants a way to play on your computer, Magic Online is the way to go. Number 4, you can just buy the singles that you need. One of the downsides of Magic Arena is if you need to get cards, the way you do it is trying to win rewards and then opening packs and then hoping that your packs give you the cards you want or give you wild cards that you can turn into cards you want. On Magic Online, I mentioned before, the idea is to exactly replicate paper Magic, and that is true of how the economy works as well. You basically go to a digital local game store and you can just get whatever singles you need. So there's no, oh no, I need this one last mythic, I gotta open 30 packs and try to find a wild card. You can just go to a store, a bot they're called on Magic Online, and just grab that card you need really quickly and inexpensively. Number 5, Magic Online actually sort of has a subscription model. One of the things I've heard people ask for Magic Arena is Wizards give us an option to give you so many dollars a month and just give us all the cards to play with. That would be so amazing. On Magic Online, you can actually do that. It's not through Wizards directly, but there's 2 big local game stores, essentially, digital local game stores, that offer card rental programs that are exactly that. You pay so much a week or a month, and you just get access to all the cards. You can borrow whatever cards you need, play with them for a while, trade them back to the bot, get new cards, play with those. So you can play literally every format with every card you want without having to buy those cards. You can just pay a subscription fee and have access to everything, which is amazing. And number 6, once you pay $5 to create your account, you can actually play for free. And I just did a video about this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not going to go over all of this again. I'll link the video in the description and put a card up. But if you think Magic Online has to be absurdly expensive, it really doesn't have to be absurdly expensive. And it is very possible to play for literally free after you pay $5 to make your account and have access to thousands of cards, be playing a lot of really powerful formats. So that is another huge upside. So those are the reasons why I think you should at least consider playing Magic Online, even in the era of Magic Arena. Anyway, let's talk about how you can get started playing Magic Online in 2022. All right, so the first step to playing Magic Online is actually getting the Magic Online client on your computer, and this is super easy to do. You just got to go to www.mtgo.com, magicthegatheringonline.com, and then if you scroll down a bit, you will find this download now button. Click the download now button. You'll get a setup.exe file. Click on it, go through the process. I already have it on my computer, so I'm not going to actually reinstall it, but I think you can probably figure this part out. It's a couple of clicks, super easy. So once you actually install the client, you're going to get a desktop icon featuring Magic Online. On my super clean desktop. So if you click on the Magic Online icon, you're going to come to this login screen. Once you have a Magic Online account, you just enter your screen name, enter your password, but we are starting a brand new account. So you want to click this create account button. Going to have to enter some personal information, birth dates, emails, so forth. So I'm going to do that real quick. Click through, email, name, choose a screen name. With the screen name, it actually is kind of an important choice for two reasons. One is, I don't think there's a way to change your screen name. There might be a way with like emailing customer support, but you can't easily change your screen name. Number two, unlike Arena, on Magic Online, each screen name is unique. So if someone has already claimed the name that you want, you're not going to be able to use that same name. So make a good choice because you're probably going to be stuck with the screen name for a while. So claim your name. Click next. Now you gotta create a password. Probably can figure this out. Choose a security question, enter that, click on the user agreement, click next. All right, so now you're gonna get a email with a activation code. Going to give you a code, I think it's like 6 digits or something. So snag that, enter the code from your email to confirm your email. And now we are actually getting into the Magic Online client. So when you log into the client for the first time, you got to do a couple of things. First, you got to click through one more set of prompts. We have this prize eligibility and mailing list option. I guess some places around the world can't actually win prizes. Do it right for your location. In the US, it's a yes. I think that you can win prizes and earn rewards. Mailing list, up to you. I think I'm already on it, so I'm going to click no. And then once you click this button, it is going to open the starter kit. There's also this guide that you can go to if you want to. We're going to skip that for now, but you can go through it if you're interested. So you're going to get some cards just for creating an account. So this jumps us right to the collection tab. We'll go through the rest of the tabs in a minute. Before we talk about the cards, there's one thing I got to do really quickly, which is go to the settings button and turn down the master volume. One thing that is not great about Magic Online is the sound effects, and they tend to be really loud and they're super obnoxious. Obviously, if you enjoy them, leave them on. But for me, that is the first step. Click on the top right, settings, master volume, all the way off. I do not want to hear these sound effects. And now we can go back to the collection tab. So when you create a free account on Magic Online, you're going to get a few things. You're going to get 2 copies of every standard common. You're going to get 1 copy of every standard uncommon. So those are the cards you get just for creating an account. And then if you jump over to the other products tab here, over on the top left, it's going to show you a couple other things. You get these avatars, which are mostly just cosmetic, and then you also get some new player points that you can use to enter special new player events and win rewards. So that's what you get for starting the account. However, you can see some of the tabs are grayed out. With this free account, you can't actually do everything you need to do on Magic Online. So you need to upgrade your account. It costs $5, and I would recommend just doing it right away. There's not really any reason to wait. If you want to do any of the things we're going to talk about in this video, you do need to upgrade your account. The $5 you have to spend to upgrade your account can be the only money you ever spend on Magic Online, and you can have access to thousands of cards, play all the formats. If you want to play top tier stuff, you are going to have to spend some money or whatever, but you never have to spend more money other than this upgrade. But the upgrade you really got to do. So you got to click on the store tab. You'll see there's only one thing available in the store, the Magic Online account upgrade kit, and then you got to put in your credit card information, which I'm going to do super quick. All right, so enter your information, click checkout. Then you're going to have to enter your billing information and whatnot, do that. All right, so enter all your stuff, confirm it. And then one more click after you do everything to purchase. And this is going to give you the Magic Online account upgrade. You can see it pop up in your account here. So now what we got to do is go back to our collection tab and actually open this and see what we get. So if you go back to your collection tab, go to other products again, like we did before, you'll see the account upgrade kit. You can open anything sealed product wise, either by just double double clicking or right clicking and doing open one of these. So we're going to open that up and see what we actually get for creating a full account. And you can see it's kind of like what we got before, but with more bonuses. So if we go back to our card tab, you'll see that we now have a full playset of every common in standard and 2 copies of every uncommon in standard. So those are the cards that you get for creating an account. And then we get more new player points, so we can join even more events and win prizes. And then we get a bunch of play points. This is enough play points to join a league, some of the more competitive events on Magic Online, which also offer a lot of prizes. We'll talk about the economy more in a minute, but it's important to note that 100 play points is the equivalent of $10, essentially. On Magic Online, there's 2 forms of currency. There's event ticks, which we're going to get in just a minute to get some cards, and then there's play points. Event ticks do everything. You can join events with them, you can buy cards with them. Play points only join events, but the conversion rate is essentially 1 ticket is equivalent to $1, and then 10 play points is equivalent to 1 event tick or $1. So when we paid $5 to upgrade our account, we actually got $10 worth of play points, plus we got all those cards, plus we got the new player points. So even though you do have to spend some money, it's actually a pretty good deal in the long run as far as what you're getting for it. So next, real quick, I want to go over the various tabs and settings on Magic Online with you, and then I will show you how to build a deck, how to import a deck list, how to get the cards you need to play a deck, and then finally join an event. So that's what's next. So we've already seen the collection tab. That's where our cards are, other products, that's where your tickets and other products are. The only thing I would add here, and we're going to go through this in a minute when we actually import a deck list, but this is also where you can add decks, build decks, and make trade binders that you can use to trade your cards. But we'll cover that more in a minute. The home screen is where you're going to end up when you log into Magic Online. Honestly, there's not much here. You can see it shows you some upcoming events. The main thing you can do here is manage your buddy list. Magic Online actually has a really good buddy list. You can add buddies, you can chat with your buddies, you can trade cards with buddies, you can challenge your buddies to matches. So that is where you will manage your buddy list as you get going. We talked about the collection tab. Then we have 2 tabs that are for events. We have the constructed tab, which is where you're going to find all the constructed tournaments, essentially. And you can see along the left-hand side, you get all the formats listed from standard all the way down to specialty, which is just any kind of like weird events, weird formats Magic Online has. The only thing I would add here is once you click on a format, like let's say we click on Pioneer, you see a bunch of different events listed, and they're roughly listed from most expensive and most competitive down to freest. So these top events are really high EV scheduled events where you got to be there at a specific time, basically like a paper Magic tournament. Like show up 16 hours and 47 minutes from now. You got to pay money to join the event, or tickets to join the event that you get with money, or play points that you can win, but you got to pay something to join the event. But then there's also really good prizes for the event. Then we have leagues and 2-player queues. These are events that fire all the time, but they do cost money and they do reward prizes. And then at the bottom, we have tournament practice and open play. These are games that fire all the time, but they don't cost any money, but they also don't reward any prizes. So that's the constructed tab. In the limited tab, we will find basically the same thing for limited. Premier events, again, are like high EV expensive events with big prizes. Draft events and sealed events just fire all the time whenever there's enough players to fire them, which is usually very quickly. The only thing I'd mention here is you can see a couple of these events. Ravnica Cube Phantom Draft League. If an event says Phantom, that means you don't keep the cards from your event. If it doesn't say Phantom, the default on Magic Online is you keep all the cards that you draft. So if you just join Innistrad Crimson Vow Draft League, you keep the cards plus you win any prizes. Phantom events most commonly used for Cube, also sometimes used with expensive events like Modern Masters or something, where you have kind of more expensive than normal packs, so the events cost a little bit more for non-Phantom. Wizards will often run a Phantom version, which is much cheaper, but you don't get to keep the cards, but you can just kind of experience the draft format. Same with Sealed. The one thing I want to mention with Sealed and also Gauntlet is this is where you can find a couple of events that you can spend your new player points. Back in the collection tab, remember, we have 30 new player points. Well, in the limited tab, the Gauntlet and also Sealed gives you events where you can spend those new player points. They only cost 3 to enter, which is kind of insane. That means you can play 10 of these events literally for free. They do reward prizes. The prizes aren't super huge, but you're getting play points, getting more new player points. So you can actually do a lot of playing for free. One of them is Adventures in the Forgotten Realm Phantom Sealed. So you don't get to keep the cards cards in these events, but you actually get to do the whole sealed thing. You're going to play, you know, multiple rounds, you get a bunch of packs that you open, you get to build your deck. Gauntlet's kind of interesting. This is kind of sealed constructed. There's 8 modern decks that Wizards has built, and they are actually going to give you the full deck list to play in this event. Same kind of prizes. You can win play points, you can win more new player points. So these are events where you don't actually have to own the cards. If you go to constructed and go to like modern, you're going to need a modern deck. You're going to need the cards in your collection and the deck in your collection to actually join that event. This special Gauntlet event for new players, they actually give you a fully built deck list just to use in the event. So make sure to check these out. They're great ways to learn the client. You get to play at least 10 of them for free with the new player points that Wizards gives you for creating your account, and you actually get to win prizes. You get to win stuff to join other events as you go along. So those are the gameplay tabs. The store tab we already went to. This is where we upgraded our account. One thing to note here is you really shouldn't be buying almost ever packs or anything from the store. There's much cheaper ways to get packs normally on the secondary market. The one thing you do buy in the store is event tickets, which I mentioned this briefly before, and we'll talk about it more as we're building decks, but essentially event tickets are Magic Online dollars. You pay $1 US to get a Magic Online event ticket, and then you can spend that event ticket to join events. You can spend it to get cards, however you want to. Finally, we have the trade tab, which is where you can trade cards. We'll talk about this a little bit more in just a second as we talk about building a deck. Finally, we have a couple of icons up here. There's a help icon where you can also report player conduct and so forth. And then settings, which is where we went to a while ago to turn down the master volume. But there's actually a ton of other things in here. You can see your game history, which is actually really cool. We haven't played any games, but Magic Online actually tracks all of your games. You can even go back and watch replays of all your games. So if you played a game like 3 weeks ago and it was really cool, you're going to find it pop up in here. You're going to be able to see it. It also has your rating, ELO style rating. However, this is private. So if you do poorly, don't worry, no one else can see it, but you can keep track of your own progress and your own rating. There's various trade settings. There's a bunch of input settings where you can set your hotkeys and so forth. Explore that a little bit if you're interested. There's nothing that's super essential here other than turning down the master volume. So those are the tabs. That's how you get around Magic Online. So next, we need to learn, how do we get cards in our collection? All right, so now it's time to talk about how you actually get the cards you need on Magic Online. And the first and most important thing to know about getting cards on Magic Online is how the economy works. And on Magic Online, the whole idea is to have Magic Online mimic paper Magic as much as possible. So Magic Online has a real quote-unquote economy. You can buy cards, you can trade cards, you can sell cards, you can buy a $500 deck, decide you don't like that deck, sell it to a digital local game store, a bot, they're called on Magic Online, and get most of your money back out of it, and then turn that into actual cash again. So nothing is locked into your account. It's really just like paper Magic. When it comes down to it though, there's really 2 pathways to getting cards. One is you just straight up buy the cards, which is what we've been talking about. The other way is with card rental programs. And these are programs that are essentially subscription models. You pay a flat fee of so much a week or a month, and you can just borrow the cards that you need to play with. If you've ever been one of those people that's like, oh, imagine how amazing Magic Arena would be if I could just pay X dollars a month and have all the cards. That is exactly what these card rental programs do. So what option is best for you is really going to depend on your goals. So to have an example of this, let's jump over to MTGGoldfish.com, and then we're going to go decks, popular metagame decks, go to modern. Let's say, actually we got a filter by Moto. On Goldfish, there's a filter here at the top, tabletop versus Moto. Since we're doing Moto, you want to click on that. Let's say you are a Hammer Time player and you really want the Hammer Time deck. So you click on this deck, you got 2 options. So one is you pay 463 tickets. A ticket is $1 on Magic Online. You can't buy directly with dollars through the client itself. You got to buy a ticket, but whatever. A ticket is $1. So you can pay 463 tickets / dollars and buy the deck. Upside of this plan is you actually own the deck. These Urza Sagas are yours. If you play the deck for a while and you're like, all right, I'm sick of Hammer Time or I'm sick of Magic Online altogether, you could just sell all these cards, probably not for 100% of the value, but maybe you get $400 when you sell them, and then you could put that $400 towards another deck, or you can just turn it into real cash. So that's the upside of buying. On the other hand, the upside of renting is, let's say you're like, okay, I like Hammer Time, but I might want to play other decks too, you can sign up for a card rental program. I use the Card Hoarder one. You can see this rent from Card Hoarder button here, $12 a week. So you pay like 50-ish bucks a month, and you take the Hammer Time deck and you play that as much as you want to. You play it for an hour, a day, a week, a year, and then when you're done playing with Hammer Time, all you do is return the cards to Card Hoarder, and then you can borrow another deck. You can, I don't know, take Murktide Regent, or take Burn, or take Jund, whatever you feel like, and just keep cycling through decks. And this works for any format. That is the upside of these loan programs, and that's why I use them for my contests, because I play like 7 decks a week, and I play formats from Standard all the way back to Legacy and Vintage sometimes. And with these loan programs, you just pay so much a month or a week, and you're able to play with literally everything without spending any money. So my advice overall is, if you are someone who only wants to play one deck forever, maybe 2 decks, this would still work. You're probably better off buying, because eventually the subscription fee you're paying each month is going to pay for the entire deck. On the other hand, if you're someone who wants to play a whole bunch of different decks, it is way cheaper and way easier to just sign up for one of the rental programs and don't even worry about buying cards. Just borrow what you need to play with and keep playing all the different formats, all the different cards that you want to. So that's renting versus buying. Which choice is right for you is going to depend on what your goals are, what you want to play. So now, how do you actually get the cards? And there's a couple of ways to get the cards here too, but I'm going to show you the most common way, probably the best way to just get an entire deck. So let's say you want this Hammer Time deck, and I mentioned this briefly before. With one click of a button, you can buy this deck from Card Hoarder. If you're in the rental program, you can click on that and rent it from Card Hoarder. So let's say you want this deck, you click the buy from Card Hoarder button. It's going to take you to a Card Hoarder page, and then you have some options here. You can optimize based on cheapest or foil or non-foil, but it's going to add all the cards to your deck. Then you just click add to your cart, and that's going to take you to the cart page on Card Hoarder. And once you get here, there's a couple of quick things you got to do, but really it's not too tough. You have to put in your Magic Online username. Mine's already in there. You get to choose how you would like to pay for the cards. If you're in a loan program, click that. Event tickets through Magic Online is right through the client. You can also pay with PayPal or with crypto, and you save a little bit by paying cash, I believe. I think you get an 8% cash discount. So if you're into either of those things, that is a reasonable option. But we're just going to do the event tickets, so that's the easiest way to do it. However, I don't actually want to buy a $500 deck at the moment, so let's do this with a cheaper deck so you can actually see how this works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my decks, and I actually built some super cheap decks recently. I built some 12 tick or less decks specifically for people using these free loan programs, which we'll talk about in a minute. Let's go for 12 tick 12 wax. So same process. Buy now from Card Hoarder, click on that. It's going to add it to the cart. You can check the optimization if you want. Click add to cart. Once it's been added to the cart, make sure you got your username in there, select your payment model, and then we're just going to do event tickets on Magic Online. So all we got to do is click place order. And then in a matter of a couple of minutes, we're going to get a message from Card Hoarder letting us know that our cards are ready, and they're going to give it to us. You can see here it says you need 14 tickets to trade. That's the one thing we got to do really quickly before Card Hoarder gives us our cards. So we're going to need to get some of those event tickets. So how do you get event tickets? Well, you jump to the store, add 14 of these event tickets to the cart. Going to be $14 plus tax. Put in our credit card information, go through the checkout process, just like when we were creating our account. So I'm not going to actually do that again. I got a few tickets in my account, but that's how you get the event tickets. So you get your 14 event tickets to pay for the deck. And then we need to jump back to our collection tab, and we need to do what's called create a trade binder. So in your collection tab, you can make decks and you can make binders. Binders are used for trading. So what we need to do is click add binder. We're going to type in Card Hoarder, just so we know what it is. You don't really need to put any specific name in there. So we're going to make this binder, Card Hoarder. And this is going to be our trade binder. And this essentially is also just like paper magic. You put the cards you want to get rid of, or the tickets, the money you want to get rid of in the binder, and then you can trade them. So we made this binder called Card Hoarder, which we're going to use for our trading. So now we go over to other products, and we can filter by tickets if we want to. This is where your 14 event tickets will be. I got a few more because they were already in my account. So we need to add 14 of these event tickets to our trade binder. Actually, there's not really any downside to just doing right click and add all. You can have more than you are going to spend in your trade binder. That's fine. So we have this trade binder set up. So the last piece of the puzzle is we just gotta wait for Card Hoarder. We're gonna get a message any minute now from Card Hoarder that is going to pop up and basically say, your cards are ready, it's time to trade. As we wait, there's one other thing we can do. Remember, we're on this page here on the website, and this works for any deck. The last thing we need to do is to import our deck list to Magic Online. So to do this, there's this download button on any deck list. Click the download button, you'll get a text file with the deck list saved to your computer. We go back to our collection tab again. This time, at the very bottom left, there is add a new deck. So we're gonna click add deck to our collection. Also, if you're on any of the format pages here, standard or pioneer, there's an add deck button here as well. So click add deck, and we're gonna do import. You can make decks manually, but importing it's so much faster. So we click import. Here's a text file. It's in downloads on my computer. Double click on that. You can see you can change the name here. It says 12 tick 12 whack, but whatever, 12 whack. So type in a name. You can choose a deck box. It doesn't really do anything. It's just a cosmetic thing. So we do all that. We click OK. Actually, apparently, I have a deck name called 12 whack. That makes sense. So we're going to do 12 like 12 ticks. We create the deck list, and now we're going to have this entire deck list already imported into our client. You can see here it is. There are all of the cards in that deck list. We didn't have to do anything crazy, and perfect timing. Here's a message from Card Hoarder popping up on the bottom right of our screen. Card Hoarder is sent us a message. So you can see what this says. Since you chose event tickets, please ensure you have 14 tickets in your active trade binder prior to our trade. So we did that. We already made our binder. Remember, our trade binder for Card Hoarder is somewhere in here. It has the 14 tickets in it, actually more than 14 tickets. So all we got to do is type yes in this chat with Card Hoarder, and it's going to start a trade with us. And then you got to select the proper binder. So there, I got a whole bunch in here, but we want the Card Hoarder binder. That's the one we just made. Click accept. And now the trade window is going to pop up, and there are all of our cards. You can see Card Hoarder has snagged our 14 event tickets. That's our payment for the cards. And then all we got to do is put all these cards into our side of the trade. You can do this one by one, dragging them down. Although, pro tip, if you hover on a card and then click Control A, it will select all of them, and you can just drag them all in at once, way faster than doing it one card at a time. So this is what we will receive. The 75 cards for our 12 whack deck. This is what Card Hoarder will get. Our 14 event tickets are $14. Then we just click submit the trade down here at the bottom right. There's a confirmation screen just to make sure nothing weird's going on. You can do one last double check, and then you click it one more time. As you can see, our trade is a total of $13.58, and we're giving Card Hoarder a total of 14 event tickets, $14. So you're probably wondering, where does the extra 42 cents go? Well, that just gets saved as bot credit. So what this means is next time we trade with Card Hoarder, we will already have 42 cents towards our total. So it doesn't go to waste or anything like that. So we did our trade. That's done. You can see all the cards that have been added to our collection here, the cards we need for our deck. Now, if we go back to our deck list, our 12 tick 12 whack deck, which you can find all your deck lists along the side, sort of by format. Here's our deck. Our deck is complete. It is ready to play with a few clicks, and in a couple of minutes, we have an entire deck that we can use to jump into events with, start winning prizes, start playing games, start having fun. The other thing I want to mention on this page is the collection tab is also where you can customize the decks. Let's say you're like, I don't know, I'm not feeling these mountains. I don't like how they're mismatched. If you go over here and type in mountain, you will be able to see all the mountains in your collection. Also, another quick pro tip, you see this version tab at the top? There's two options. Show versions separately, which will show every version of every card, and then not show versions separately. If you want to like customize your mountains or whatever, you want show versions separately, and then you can look around. I think I have a lot of mountains in my collection somewhere. You can see all the different kinds of mountains I have. So with a few clicks of a button, we can come down to this, see all the mountains, boom, take those out. And then we can add in whatever mountains we feel like. We can play some mismatch mountains. We can play these foil promo mountains, whatever. And to customize the deck, you can either right click and do add 1 or add 4, whatever amount, or you can just drag and drop cards into your deck list. You can see this little exclamation point. That means the deck is not legal. And it's not legal because we only got 45 cards in it right now. So once we actually add in the rest of our mountains, so we have 50 cards again, that will go away. No symbol there means the deck's legal, and that means we're ready to go. We could go through and customize more stuff, change what goblin grenades we have or whatever. That's all possible, super easy, especially with all the filtering options over here. But that's how you get a deck. It's also worth mentioning briefly that you can't just build decks directly on Magic Online. If you got a full deck list that you want, importing it definitely the way to go. Way faster, way easier. However, you can do a lot of brewing in Magic Online. You can do the same thing. If you click the add deck button, either up here or down in the bottom left, rather than clicking import, just set your deck name, choose the format that you want, and then click OK. That is going to allow you to just build a deck in the client. You got a ton of filtering options over here, sets, colors, types, mana value, power toughness, all that kind of stuff. Choose the format that you're brewing in, and then right now it's showing us only cards that we actually own for that format. If you want to brew with cards you don't own, quantity up here at the top, set it to 0. That'll show you cards even that you don't own. So maybe you want to build an Acererak deck for standard. You don't own the Acererak deck, you can still add them to your deck list and build the deck, and then you can get the cards afterwards. And the final step to this, and this is how I actually build most of my decks, is I'll build a deck on Magic Online, do my brewing here because I like the deck building tools, and then I will just export the deck from Magic Online, put it on Goldfish, then I get the cards from Card Hoarder. So to export a deck, if you go to any of your decks over on the left hand side and right click, you'll see an export option. You click export, you're probably going to want to set it to plain text is the easiest. I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now. So we're going to get a text file of this deck. Then we can just find the text file on my very, very not messy desktop, open it up, just copy it. And then if you go over to Goldfish and go to tools in my decks, you can create a new deck, and then you type in the deck name. You can set your formats and all that stuff. Just paste the information into the deck builder here. The one thing you'll have to do using the text file method is you are going to have to move your sideboard over to the sideboard tab. So just kind of divide that out, or it's all going to lump into the main deck. And then you can preview it and see what it looks like, and then you can save it, and then you can do the same stuff we're talking about, where you can click the buy from Card Hoarder button. So that's how you can build a deck in the client and still go through the whole process of easily getting the deck from a couple of clicks through the Goldfish website, through the Goldfish website and through Card Hoarder. However, before we move on and talk about the actual gameplay, there's a couple other things I gotta mention about getting cards on Magic Online. So one is, I'm sure you're wondering, wait, if you're doing this all through Goldfish and through Card Hoarder, why is there even a trade tab? Well, the trade tab does have uses. It is not the primary way that you get cards, but there are certainly things that you can do with the trade tab, and there's two important things to mention. So the trade tab, you can see here a bunch of screen names. Essentially what these are digital local game stores. They are bots that will sell you cards. Some of them have prices listed, Alphabet Caretaker, 4.9 ticks or whatever. So this is a great way to just grab a card quickly if you don't need an entire deck. I will say there's so many bots on here. There's a handful of ones that have been around a long time, are super reliable. I don't think you're going to get scammed by any of these bots. Like, I'm not saying that by any means, but I tend to use the same 2 or 3 bots, which are Card Hoarder, MTGO Traders, and Goat bots are the 3 big ones. So let's say I want a different version of Goblin Grenade. We have Goblin Grenades in our deck already, but I don't know. I want a different version. I want the new border version. So I go to the trade tab. I'm going to type in Card Hoarder because that's one of the bots I use regularly. You can see here, if you go to the right hand side, there's these trade options. We need to find an open bot. One of the things about bots, or the digital local game stores on Magic Online, is you can only have one customer at a time. So these bots that say busy, essentially that means there's already someone in there trading with them. If you try to trade with a busy bot, it is going to just decline your trade. All right, so we're going to go to one of the open Card Hoarder bots. We select the binder again, same one, because that's where we put our tickets, our money that we can spend. Although I don't think we're going to need any money because we have that bot credit left over from buying our deck. So this is going to load us into a page very much like the one when we just bought our entire deck a minute ago. This is all the cards that are in this Card Hoarder local game store. And if we want any of these cards, getting them is pretty simple. If we're like, all right, I want this Old Border Containment Priest, you can either just drag it down into the trade, or you can right click and do add one to the trade. And then the price is going to pop up over here. Card Hoarder says Containment Priest 1.33 event tickets for this version. So that's how trading basically works. But we're here for Goblin Grenades. We want want a Goblin Grenade, change the art up a little bit. So we type in Goblin Grenade. Here's the ones that we want. These are the new border one that we want for our deck. So all we got to do is add these Goblin Grenades to the trade. Let's see what the price is. They are 0.1 of a tick, so 10 cents, which actually works out perfectly because we had, what, 42 cents left over in store credit. So we drag the Goblin Grenades down there. We can just take them because we have enough store credit to cover the 40-cent balance. Click submit, just like we did when we were getting our full deck. Click confirm. And now we're the proud owner of 4 M10 versions of Goblin Grenade. So that's how you trade with the bots. I mostly use trading with the bots in the trade tab for stuff like that. I need a different art version on a card, or I want some different basic lands, or I'm missing one card for a commander deck. I don't really want to go through the whole process of, importing deck lists and all that. I just want to snake one card really quickly. There is one other really important use for the trade tab for new players, which is there are actually a couple of bots run by some of the biggest card stores on Magic Online that'll give you cards literally for free. So the two main ones that I know of are Card Hoarder free, and then there's also Goat Bots free, and I will make sure to put these names in the chat so you remember them. But these are bots that'll literally just give you cards. You can see Goat Bots free. Free cards for new players can take up to 8 cards every day. There's over 13,000 cards in the collection. It doesn't matter what binder we load here because we're not giving any money. So this works just like that other trade, except you never have to pay any money. There is no money involved. And you're probably thinking, okay, sure, you get free cards, but they're all going to be really horrible basic lands or whatever. But that's not really true. Sure, you're not going to find Chase Mythic. Sure, you're not going to find super expensive rares or fetch lands, but there's actually playable stuff like Saltai Charm. That's a thing that I've put in commander decks. You would play in commander decks. You can also filter over here. Like if we want to, we can search by legend. Let's see if we can find like a legend for a commander deck. There's Stang, there's some Ronas, maybe you build a budget Yargle deck. So there's a lot of cards here, and you can take 8 of these a day. You can take full play sets. Maybe you want Arcanus Owl because you're playing a sweet Pioneer Devotion deck. Boom. Add 4 of them to your side of the trade. And maybe you want, I don't know, a Blood Cultist for some reason, or a Boros Guild Mage, or Captivating Glance because the giant art's kind of funny, or a Clash of Wills to counter some stuff. So add 8 cards to the trade, and that's it. Click submit, and you'll go to the confirmation page, and then click submit again, and all of a sudden you got those cards for free, and you can go back and do this every single day. Card Hoarder, same exact thing, with the only difference being you get 64 cards a month rather than getting 8 cards a day. Take advantage of both of these. You will have thousands of cards in your collection for free by the end of the year. Like if you do this regularly, you're going to grow your collection really, really fast. And sure, it's not going to be Ragavan or whatever, but you could build, some pretty fun decks just out of these cards. Two more things, then I promise I'll show you how to play the game. But these are important because getting cards for free is pretty awesome on Magic Online. So one is Card Hoarder. We just talked about them being one of the programs that I use. We just traded with them. Well, they actually have a welcome gift for new Magic Online players where they will just give you $4, 4 tickets worth of free bot credit. And remember, we already did this. We just used this bot credit to get our Goblin Grenades. If you go to cardhoarder.com/MTGO-welcome-gift, enter your email, your username, click a couple things saying that you've made a new account, and they'll just give you 4 ticks of bot credit that you can spend on whatever you want to from their bots, which is absolutely insane. One other thing, just to wrap back around to the loan programs really quickly, in case you decide to go that direction rather than buying cards, there's 2 big ones, Card Hoarder and Mana Traders. They're both pretty similar. Card Hoarder is the one I use. I know people that use Mana Traders as well. So you can go to cardhoarder.com or manatraders.com to apply for these programs, get signed up if you want to do the card rental thing. The other important thing I want to mention is both of them also have a free card rental program, which is absolutely essential for new players. If you go to cardhoarder.com/free-loan-program/apply, they have a free 5-ticket, $5 card rental program where they will just let you borrow up to $5 worth of cards, which on Magic Online goes a long way when you consider alpha beta dual lands are like a couple of bucks. Sylvan Library is like 3 cents. Like it actually goes a really, really long way, and you can build a lot of decks with this. We've done entire Commander Clash episodes episodes with $5 decks on Magic Online. So don't think, oh, $5, I can't do anything with that. You can actually do a lot with it. But Card Hoarder, a free 5-ticket loan account, I would definitely recommend signing up for it. And then Mana Traders has a free $7 card rental program. Same exact thing. So go and sign up to that one, manatraders.com/subscriptions. If you do both of them, that gives you $12 worth of cards. And what that means is, remember this deck that we just built? This 12-tick, 12-whack deck, which is a deck that it's really powerful. This is not some scrubby deck that you'll never win with. This is a deck that is actually pretty competitive in Modern. You can borrow this deck for free. And there's a lot of other decks that are cheap enough, not fully top tier decks, but powerful budget decks, really sweet commander decks that you can play for free if you get into these 2 free card rental programs. So even if you're not at a point where you're ready to sign up for the subscription plan and pay, so much a month to be able to borrow whatever cards you want, I would encourage you to at least test out these free card rental programs, because it's a great way to have access to a whole bunch of cards without spending any money at all. So that is getting cards, that is renting cards, that is buying cards, that is a whole Moto economy, which means now it's time to actually talk about playing Magic on Magic Online. So that means we gotta head to one of these gameplay tabs, Constructed or Limited. We're heading to Constructed, that's where Modern is, but I did want to remind you, in Limited, under Sealed and Gauntlet, there are those 2 events that you can use your new player points on. Definitely recommend trying out the Modern Gauntlet or the AFR Phantom Sealed to get used to the client, to win some prizes. So head over there, use your new player points at some point, but we're heading to Constructed. So once you get to Constructed, this is where all the constructed games of Magic happen, from Standard all the way to Commander. You can see all the formats on the left-hand side. You just click whichever one you want to play. If you want to play Legacy, click on that. We are heading to Modern, because that's what our deck is, our 12-whack deck. So once you click on the proper format that you want to play, there's still a whole bunch of events here. They roughly are ranked from most expensive and most competitive at the top, down to most casual and free on the bottom. So I would definitely recommend, as a new player, you don't want to jump into a Modern Preliminary or even a Modern League. You want to start with Modern Open Play, maybe Modern Tournament Practice, get used to the client, get used to your decks and how everything works, and then work your way up to those more competitive and expensive and prize granting events if you want to. So we are in Modern Open Play. That's where we're going to start. How do you actually join a game or start a game of Magic? Before we do that, I guess super quick, you can see your deck list over here. Worth checking you got the right one. I have occasionally loaded the wrong deck and joined an event without realizing it. If you need to change your deck, there's a change deck button that'll allow you to switch decks without going all the way back to your collection screen. So let's say you want to play a game of Magic. How do you do it? It's super, super easy. Option 1 is click this join button. These are essentially all tables with people playing Magic. You can see most of them are full at the moment. There's 2 players playing in them. If we click the join button, that means next time there is an open game, it is just going to put us in it against whoever created that game. So that's option 1. So if we clicked it, we would probably join this person up here. We could also click the play button by their table and join it directly. The other way to do it is just make our own game with the create button. If we click the create button, we're starting the game and we kind of get to set the rules of the game. How many players, you make it so only your buddies, the people on your friends list can join. Can people watch or not watch? You can add comments if you want to, like this person put no competitive decks, for example. We're going to do a 1-player game because I think it's going to be the easiest way to just show you around the battlefield and the actual screen. So we're going to click create. The game is going to pop up here momentarily. And now we are actually in a game of Magic. This is the gameplay screen. So some of it's pretty obvious. That's our hand. This is our battlefield. This is our opponent's battlefield at the top. If we had an actual live opponent, we would see the backs of their cards up at the very top of the screen. Along the left-hand side is where most of the important information is. There's this command box, which is where you click OK, where you choose if you want to mulligan or keep. All that kind of stuff is going to happen in this box. Below that, you see our icon, our life total, our name, and then a bunch of other information. This is how many cards are in our deck, how many in our hand, and if you ever forget any of this stuff, if you right click on it, it'll just tell you, oh, it's a number of cards in a player's hand. Down below our icon, we have 4 more expandable zones. This is graveyard, so we can click on it. No cards in the graveyard at the moment, obviously, but if there were, you'd see them all in here. This is the exile zone, same way. say. This is the reveal zone, which is like if you thought seize your opponent, it'll show all the cards that you saw in your opponent's hand so you can remember them. And this is the effects zone, which is delay triggers and so forth. Again, you can hover or right click to actually read what they are if you forget it. One other thing with these zones, if you click them once, it'll expand, and then click them again to unexpand, minimize. However, once you expand, if you click this arrow, you actually can pop it out. So if you're playing Dredge and you want your graveyard to take up the whole screen or something, you can pop it out, see it really well, and then just put it back, or X to minimize it altogether. So that's the information of what's happening in the game. Down here we have some settings, essentially. The settings tab doesn't really do anything important. Any of the important settings you can get by right-clicking on the battlefield. Then we have this chat button. Chat is optional. You opt in or opt out of it on Magic Online. If you would like to be able to chat with your opponent, you can open it up and, type down here in the bottom right. If you don't want to, then leave it off. You also have a show game log button, which I think is actually really, really important. Show game log essentially will show you every action that has taken place through the entire game. So if you're like, oh, did my opponent play a land this turn, or what creature came into play 5 turns ago, you can just scroll back to the game log and see everything. So I always have that on. I usually have the chat on as well, but again, that's totally optional. Use it, don't use it, whatever you want to do. Then we have the actual gameplay stuff. I mentioned this is our hand. Above our hand, we have all the phases in a game of Magic, and one of my favorite parts about Magic Online is just how customizable this is. So you can see untap all the way to end step. You have control over all this. If you want to, let's say, stop on your upkeep, all you got to do is click the little triangle by upkeep, and that will set a stop. So next time it goes to your upkeep, it'll stop there. If there is not a stop set in a phase, it's not going to stop there. So no triangle, it is not stopping on your upkeep. Triangle means it's stopping. Also, when we actually have an opponent, you have these options for your opponent as well. So above upkeep would be your opponent stop. You could click that if you want to stop and do something on their upkeep or whatever. Worth mentioning with these phases, I guess 2 things. One is you definitely need your main phase, combat phases, and so forth, because if you just turn all these phases off and didn't have any of them checked, it would just pass right through your turn. So keep that in mind. Magic Online's not going to try to read your mind. It's not going to intuitively stop on your main phase or anything. If you don't have a stop there, it's not going to stop there. So you got to take the responsibility for it and control it. Also, I've definitely in the past a couple of times accidentally clicked off a phase. Like I tend to click around a lot sometimes and accidentally click off my main phase and not realize it until it skips my main phase and I'm sad and I lose. To get around this, you can actually lock your phases. So once you get a setup that you like, if you go over to this lock icon on the far right, this will set it so even if you click on your phases, they will not change. So get a setup that you like, you can lock it, and then if you need to make a change, you can unlock it and make that change. So that's basically the whole battlefield. So I guess it's time to actually play some Magic cards. So I guess we're gonna keep this hand. Yeah, this hand's fine. Only one land, but that's fine. So how do you actually play Magic cards? There's a couple of options. So we gotta play this mountain. How do we actually get this mountain on the battlefield? We can right click it and click play. We can just drag it out there like Magic Arena, or we can just single left click on it and it'll go to the battlefield. Same with a creature or any of our other spells. So we want to play this Legion Loyalist. We can tap our mana and just click it and it'll cast. We can tap our mana and we can right click and click cast. We can tap our mana and just drag it on the battlefield. We can also do it the opposite order. We can do Legion Loyalist first and then tap our mana. So we can right click it, click cast, it's going to say you got to pay 1 mana, then tap the mana. Same with like dragging it out here, it's going to say pay a mana, or just clicking, it's going to say pay a mana. I think clicking is just the fastest, just the single left click. And now we can actually go to combat. Combat super, super easy. So we're on our main phase. We click OK, it's going to advance to beginning of combat. Then we click OK again, going to advance to the attack step. To attack, all you got to do is click on our creature and it's going to attack our opponent. Click through the block step, go to our second main phase, take some damage. So now we're going to go to our second turn. I kind of hope we draw a land here. We did not. Okay. Well, I can show you something else, so that's fine. So we're going to tap our mana. We're going to play second Legion Loyalist. Legion Loyalist 2 comes down. Now we go to combat, and if you would like to attack with more than one creature, you can right-click on the battlefield and just click attack all. If you decide, oh no, I don't want to do that, you can can right click again and reset. You can also attack all and then like pull back one attacker. If you got a big board with like 100 tokens, way easier than clicking through each one individually. So do a little bit of attacking, hit our opponent. Really need to draw one more land to show you. Okay, we're just going to wait until we draw land and then I can show you the rest of this. In the meantime, we will play one drop, so we're not discarding the hand size. Not even going to bother attacking. All right, so there's land number 2. So we drew land number 2. So we play land number 2. Now we're going to play Goblin Pile Driver. And this is an important one because it's going to show off something else that you need to know. So play the Pile Driver. We're going to pass the turn. What I want to show you now is how you can manage your triggers, essentially. So Goblin Pile Driver has an ability that says when it attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking goblin. So we go to combat. Let's say we attack with Pile Driver in Mog Fanatic. We are going to get this trigger from Goblin Pile Driver that says, get +2/+0 for each other goblin. This is going to happen every single turn. That's what Goblin Pile Driver does. So we can just keep clicking OK every turn because every trigger you got to click OK to. So we can just click OK every turn, hit our opponent for some damage. Then we will, let's just play this Battlecry Goblin. Go to our next turn, we untap. Ooh, a mountain. So now we go to combat. Check this out. So we go to combat. We attack with the Goblin Pile Driver and the Mog Fanatic. The trigger happens. What we do now, though, and you can do this at any time with any trigger, we're going to right-click on this trigger, and we're going to say, well, there's two options here. Always yield to triggered abilities from cards named Goblin Pile Driver you control, or yield to triggered abilities from Goblin Pile Driver this turn. We want to click always yield to it. So if we click this, what this is going to do is for the rest of the game, it's going to say yes to Goblin Pile Driver. So next turn, when we go to combat and go attacking, we're not going to have to say okay to that. We're just going to go to combat. We're going to attack with the Pile Driver and the Mog Fanatic. The trigger is going to happen. Our Pile Driver still grew, but we did not have to click OK for that. So that is just a way to make things a little smoother, a little faster. And I'm going to show you a more extreme mode of that in just a minute. So I know what you're thinking right now is, that's a lot of clicking OK, but it doesn't have to be. The final important thing to know about the gameplay screen is a few shortcuts. So if you go down here to the bottom right of the screen, there's this weird little keyboard thing. If you click on that, it's going to show you the shortcuts that are available. There's a whole bunch of these. There's only 3 that I think are like super essential. Actually, maybe 4. One is I mentioned before that if you double click with your mouse, it's going to zoom in on a card. That's really helpful for reading cards. The most important ones, though, are number 1, number 6, and also control. So number 1 just says okay. You've probably seen me going up here and clicking okay, and clicking okay, and clicking okay. There's a lot of things to click okay to. We can just click number 1 instead, and it is so much easier. So now, instead of clicking, and then going to combat, and clicking Mog Fanatic, and then clicking, we can do all of this just clicking number 1, clicking number 1, clicking number 1 to just pass through our phases, through our abilities much faster. The other one is number 6. Number 6 is pass the turn. What this means is I'm done. I'm not doing anything this turn. So you don't want to use this too aggressively, but if you're tapped out, you don't got any instants, you don't want to bluff anything, it is a lifesaver. So the one thing that it does not pass through is your attack step. So right now I'm going to press 6. So I press 6. And what this does is it says, I'm done with this turn. It does still stop to allow you to attack. That's the only thing it stops for. So it skips through the rest of our turn. The biggest upside of this is when you're playing against opponents, essentially. During your opponent's turn, we're playing a goblin deck. We don't really have instant speed stuff. If we're not trying to leave up an instant or bluff, we can just click 6 and kick back, not worry about anything. Our opponent does whatever they want to do. And Magic Online is not going to stop us to click okay, 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 or 1 a million times. The only other button that is kind of relevant is control. Control basically holds priority. I don't think it really matters for this deck, but let's say for some reason we wanted to cast a lightning bolt with a Battlecry Goblin trigger on this deck. So let's play this Battlecry Goblin. Battlecry Goblin can pay 2 to give your goblins haste and pump them. So normally what'll happen if we pay for this trigger, it's just going to resolve. On the other hand, maybe we want to do something in response to that, like sack this Mog Fanatic. If we hold control, we can activate Battlecry Goblin, And then you can see the trigger is still on the stack. So now we can also like sack our Mog Fanatic to deal damage to something, or use any of our other abilities. So for a lot of decks, it doesn't really matter, but it is really, really important to some decks. If you got to do something in response to something you're doing, control is the button that saves you. So I think that's really all you need to know about the gameplay screen. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to say is we talked about using 6 to just pass through a turn very quickly. If you're playing, especially Commander, there is one other option. If you go back to the phases bar and you click on a phase, you'll see a My Turn button. You also have these for your opponent's turn, several opponents if you're playing Commander. If you click Yield until here, it'll basically pass until it gets to that point on your next turn. So if you have 3 opponents in a game of Commander and you don't want to keep clicking 6 and keep clicking OK, you don't have anything to do, if you do the yield until my turn, it is going to just pass through all your opponent's turns until it gets back to there. And then with any of these things, if you're ever like, oh no, I messed up, I changed my mind, I don't actually want to skip until I get to that part of my turn, you can right click on the battlefield and turn off auto yields, and that'll get rid of that and anything else that you set. Also, with a right click, there's not a ton that you need to know here. It is where you can go to concede a game if you're just done with a game. View sideboard can be valuable at some points. If you gotta view a dungeon, that helps there. But those are the main things on the battlefield. So that, I think, is an overview of the battlefield. I did want to switch decks real quick and show you one other really cute trick that isn't relevant for every deck, but really important for some decks. All right, so we are back, and this time we have this Heliod combo deck because I just got to show you one of the best parts of Magic Online, which is its ability to manage your combos, which is something that if you're coming from Magic Arena, it's probably going to blow your mind because Magic Online does this so much better than Magic Arena does. So we are playing a Heliod combo deck here at the moment. If you've never seen Heliod combo, it's got a whole bunch of infinite combos. One of them is Spike Feeder with Heliod to gain infinite life, and I'm going to show you how awesome this is in just a minute. So how this combo works is Spike Feeder, you can remove a +1/+1 counter from it to gain 2 life, and then when you gain life, Heliod triggers to put a +1/+1 counter on something. So you can use Heliod to replenish the counter, gain infinite life essentially. So here's how this normally works. If you aren't using Magic Online well, you click on Spike Feeder, right click on anything to activate their abilities, click remove a +1/+1 counter to gain 2 life. That's going to happen. Then Heliod's going to trigger because we gain life. Then we got to click that trigger. Then we got to click the Spike Feeder, and then we got to click OK, and then it puts the counter back on the Spike Feeder. That's a lot of clicks. 1 click, 2 click, 3 click, 4 click, 5 clicks to go through a single loop to gain 2 life. But we can speed this up immensely by managing our triggers. So first, we want to activate our Spike Feeder to trigger our Heliod. So Heliod, we got this trigger on the stack, and this is where it gets really, really fun. So if we right click on this Heliod trigger, you see we have some different options this time. It's not just yield until end of turn. It's telling us what the ability is. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on something, and then it has this and save targets ability. So if we do and save targets, what this is going to do is it's going to say every time, until we tell it to stop, but every time Heliod triggers, we want it to target the same thing. In this case, Spike Feeder, which is what we want because that's the combo. So now, every time Heliod triggers to put a counter on something, we don't got to click Spike Feeder. It's just automatically going to put it on Spike Feeder. Then we can right click again on this trigger, and now we can always yield to the Heliod trigger. So we don't have to say okay to it again and again and again. So now check this out. We go back to our combo, we click Spike Feeder, we click gain 2 life, boom. It all happened without just doing anything. It happened so fast we don't even see the Heliod trigger going on the stack. We're just gaining life up to 30, up to 32, up to 34, up to 36, up to 38. So if you've ever been fighting against the rope on Arena and seeing it tick down as you're trying to combo, once you learn how to manage your triggers, which you're learning right now, but once you learn how to manage your triggers on Magic Online, it's so much faster and smoother. Like, look how fast we're gaining infinite life. We're not clicking 5 times, 10 times. We're just going through this at lightning speed. So that is one of my all-time favorite parts about Magic Online. So keep that in mind. Like, this is kind of an extreme example with an infinite combo, but any trigger that's going to happen repeatedly, like our Arbor Elf, we can always yield to it, and then every time we do that, we're not going to have to click OK to Arbor Elf. There's no confirming that. So manage your triggers well. It makes the game so much better. So I think that's all the important stuff about actually playing Magic. If I missed anything, if you got any questions, definitely let me know in the comments and I will try to answer them. Otherwise, I guess it's time to talk about prizes in selling cards and how you can build your collection that way. And that pretty much is getting us close to the end. All right, so our last topic is tournaments and prizes and what you do with your prizes to actually get profit out of them, build a collection. So far we've mostly talked about how to get started on Magic Online and how to play as much Magic as possible as cheaply as possible. Infinite Commander games with free loan programs or the free bots and Budget X, all that kind of stuff. But it might be that you want a more spiky experience. You want tournaments that have an entry fee and also reward you with prizes. Well, Magic Online has you covered. For every format on Magic Online, outside of Commander, there are tournaments running all the time where you have to pay an entry fee, but you actually can win a reasonable amount of prizes. There's 3 styles of tournaments on Magic Online and a couple of different prizes. So we're going to go over those really quickly, and then I'm going to show you what you can actually do with your prizes that you do win. So first and foremost, any tournament on Magic Online has a view prizes button that you can click on and see what those prizes are. So keep that in mind. If I don't cover something here, you can always click that button. But the 3 tournaments, the lowest level is the 2-player queue. The 2-player queue is a single match of whatever format you choose, and it costs 2 event tickets or 20 play points. They're equivalent to enter. The winner gets 30 play points and the loser gets 5 play points. So you play a single match. If you win, you profit. If you lose, you lose. The next level is the most popular tournaments by far on Magic Online, which are leagues. Leagues are 5 matches with the same deck, except you don't got to play them in a row. You can play one a day for 5 days or however you want to do it. You don't got to just sit there and play hours and hours of Magic if you don't want to, but it's 5 matches with the same deck. It costs 10 event tickets or 100 play points to enter, so roughly $10 equivalent, and your prizes are based on how well you do, how many wins you get. So if you get 0 wins or 1 win, you get nothing. You just lose your entry fee. If you get 2 wins, so you go 2 wins and 3 losses, you get back half your entry fee. You get back 50 play points. Once you get to 3 wins, that's when things become pretty exciting because you actually start to profit. At 3 wins, you get back your entire entry fee and you get 1 treasure chest booster. At 4 wins, you get 120 play points, so you're plus 20 play points, and you get 5 treasure chest boosters. And then at the 5-0 level, you get 150 play points and 11 treasure chest boosters. So for any of this to make sense, you got to know what a treasure chest booster is. You're probably wondering, treasure chest boosters are these special boosters that are only given out as prizes on Magic Online, and they're all rares. They're only 2 or 3 cards. I guess there's also some expensive uncommons, but it's almost exclusively rares and mythics. It's supposed to be good cards, essentially. These are only used as prizes for events, and they're worth right around 2.5 event tickets, 2.3 event tickets, depending on the week. So that's roughly their value. So if you think about these tournaments again, let's say you go 5-0 in a league, you're going to get plus 50 play points, which is about $5. And then you're going to get 11 treasure chests worth, let's say 2.5 ticks or whatever. So that's another, what, $25, $27. So you're actually going to profit $30-ish that you can use to buy more cards, you can use to enter more events, you can cash out your treasure chests and turn them into real cash. So when you add all this up, you actually can go infinite on Magic Online in leagues at a 50% win rate. If you win 50% of the time, you will slowly build a collection, earning like $0.3, 0.3 event tickets per league that you do. So you don't need some insane win rate to go infinite playing constructed events on Magic Online. It's actually a pretty reasonable 50% win rate. The final level of tournaments is scheduled events. And these are like real paper tournaments where you got to be there at a specific time. You play a whole bunch of rounds in a row, and they often qualify you for something. These preliminaries qualify you for various qualifier super Q showcase challenges. So you pay a bunch of money, you can qualify for even more high EV tournaments, and you get back some play points and stuff. There's also PTQs. I've never done a lot of scheduled events myself, but that's kind of the top end where you can qualify for pro tours if we ever have them again or whatever through Magic Online. So those are the events. That's how you can earn prizes. The final piece of the puzzle is, what do you actually do with your prizes? And we already talked about the 2 main kinds of prizes, play points and then treasure chests. Play points are simple. They do exactly one thing. They enter more events. The real money in prizes is the treasure chest. And you have two options with these. One is you can just open them and hope that you open high value cards, good cards in them. The other option is you can just sell them. And the safe plan is just to sell them. So if you want to sell your treasure chest, which honestly, as fun as it is to open boosters and to gamble on them, I would definitely recommend, especially if you're trying to squeeze every bit of value possible out of your account and build a collection. All you got to do is basically what we did earlier as far as trading, but in reverse. So you can find your treasure chest by going to other products and then sealed products. We have our 5 treasure chests. We need a trade binder. We already made one earlier, the card hoarder one, which we happen to have open. So we can just drag our treasure chests into the trade binder. And then the last thing we need to do, you can also right click and add them that way, but last thing we need to do is go to the trade tab, find a bot that will buy them from us. So we can search for treasure chest in the chat if we want to, and just look through the bots, see what they're offering, 2.27 ticks or whatever. I'll probably just use GoBots because I'm familiar with them. So GoBots are paying 2.27 for a treasure chest right now. So when we go over here, make sure the bot says open and not busy. Go over here, click trade, make sure we select the right binder, card hoarder, click OK. The trade will open, and now it's exactly what we did earlier, except GoBots is going to take our treasure chest, and then they're going to give us event tickets that we can spend on whatever we want to. So GoBots is taking them. They're going to tell us over here in the chat exactly how much they'll give us for them right now, which is 11.35 event ticks. So then we got to take their event ticks. So we go other products tab, tickets. There's the event ticks. We get to take 11. Of course, there's some cents left over, but that's fine. It'll still be here. Next time we trade with GoBots, we'll have some amount of store credit that we can use. So take the 11 event tickets, and this is essentially what would happen if you went 4-1 in a league. You went 4-1 in a league, you got those 5 treasure chests, you sold those 5 treasure chests, you end up with 11 tickets, and then we can use those event tickets towards our next deck. That's 11 tickets towards whatever deck we want to play next, whatever cards we need. If we run out of play points, we can use them towards entering events. And with event tickets, you can also just sell them for cash. There are several big vendors and places out there that will buy them for about 90 cents on the dollar. So that's how you can actually turn your entire Magic Online collection back into cash. You would take and sell all your cards, turn them into event tickets, or you can just sell your entire collection to someone, but sell all your cards into event tickets, and then you can sell the event tickets for actual money and do whatever you want with it in the real world. So I think that brings us to the end of our Getting Started on Magic Online in 2022 video. So hopefully I covered everything you could possibly want to know. If I missed something, my apologies. Ask me about it in the chat and I will let you know. I hope I hit on pretty much everything a new player could want to know. So that's Getting Started on Magic Online. On the way out the door, a couple of reminders, with one being, if you need some sweet decks to play on Magic Online or want to keep up on all the latest Moto prices, definitely head over to MTGGoldfish.com. That's actually how Goldfish started, was for Magic Online prices. That's what got Richard to start the site. So check that out for all your pricing needs, sweet deck lists, all that fun stuff. And of course, like the video if you feel like it. Keep up on all the latest on YouTube by subscribing. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this was helpful and I hope you enjoyed it. If you got questions, let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.